Alright, hi YouTube. This is my first attempt at a YouTube video. My name is Brad Condon, and I want to talk about elevation and sea level on the flat earth. So, I've been thinking about, mountains and how they come up with elevation for the peaks and everything. And, I did a YouTube search, flat earth, sea level, elevation, etc. And, what came up was, this channel called Minute Physics, and I think you guys would get a kick out of checking their video out. I don't have a computer. I'm very low tech. If I did, I would, have that video up and break it down, but it's pretty hilarious. So they talk about, the guy gets on, he talks real fast, and he says, well, if the earth was flat, it'd be pretty easy. We would just take the average level of the sea, and that would be that. Well, I assume by average he means between high and low tides. And then he says, well, if the earth was a sphere, it would also be easy, because all we have to do is measure from the center of the earth to the average sea level. Alright, so that's completely ridiculous on so many levels. Well, he says all we would have to do would take the average level of the sea. Alright, so if the sea is curved, how's, this whole thing is just, it's retarded. And then he says we would just measure from the center of the earth to whatever peak we wanted to get the elevation. So I guess he figures there's somebody standing in the middle, in the center of the earth with, a tape measure. And so, well, the thing is, I used to help be a surveyor's helper back in 1980, 81, out in Wyoming and Montana, and you tie into a benchmark, a U.S. Geological Survey benchmark, which was, a brass thing on the ground. That I believe it was from 1908 or 1920 something, the early 1900s. The USGS, surveyed, I guess, pretty much the entire country, or at least this area of the country, and put these elevation markers in. And then, for surveying, I was a surveyor's helper. This was right after I was in high school, and you'd hold the rod, with all the lines on the rod with the feet and everything. Well, the transit that the surveyor looks through, you have to level that first, which of course you use a level which has what in it? Water and an air bubble. So, you tie into that, and we would take shots up to a half a mile or so to get the elevation. And so, there would be 4 inches of curvature, theoretically. We never took that into account. We were out in the middle of the country. There's no oceans for, 1,000 miles in either direction. So, I got my brain thinking, how do they come up with these elevations? So if you go onto this Minute Physics channel and see this video, it just starts you to think how stupid the whole thing is. So he talks about, well, if it was a sphere, it'd be easy also, because you just take the average level of the seas, which I'm not, that right there is baffling. If the sea's curved, and you're trying to, figure out sea level, what does that mean? The average level of the sea. Is that the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean? Where are they coming from? How are they getting the average level of the sea? If the sea is curved, are they talking about right where it hits the land? I mean, none of it makes any sense. But then it gets even more ridiculous. The guy continues. He says, well, but since it's not a sphere, since the Earth has been spinning, it's, and then he goes into the fact that it's an oblate spheroid that our good friend, the asshole Tyson there talks about, the pear-shaped spheroid or whatever. And then he gets really, really ridiculous, and he says, well, because it's bulging at the equator, he says, but not only that, that because the interior of the Earth is made up of different densities and stuff, the gravity is different in different parts of the Earth. So the people who care about this stuff, geodesists, or however he says it, figured out this chart of where the gravity is stronger over the entire Earth. It's got the chart of where it's stronger, where it's not stronger, how in the ocean, if the ocean's shallower, the water flows away or something. And he talks about how the continents and mountains have their own gravitational pull. Well, all right, at one point he says, well, the continents and mountains would attract water because they're massive, so they would pull water to them. So mountains next to the ocean, I guess, are going to pull the ocean. The sea level is going to be higher next to the mountains. All right, well, anytime I see water and mountains, the water seems to flow away from the mountain because it's trying to get down to sea level. I mean, if you guys want to go and check this video out on Minute Physics, you're just going to get a kick out of it. Now, there's like 2.5 million views, something like 37,000 likes, and I think 500 thumbs down. I gave it a thumbs down. Probably some flat earthers went on there, like me, trying to think about this stuff. But I haven't seen too many, major flat earth channels that I check out talk too much about how sea level and elevation and everything. It's obvious that the earth has to be flat, that the sea has to be level, or they wouldn't have all these elevations. So they talk about this chart that they made up of where the gravity's stronger, where it's weaker over the entire earth. They could figure out, how the elevation is because of the gravity. So I'm wondering, how did they, supposedly, if this is true, how long ago did they come up with this gravitational chart? In the 1900s, when the USGS out in Wyoming was laying these benchmarks out for elevation, did they know about this gravitational chart? And then or are all the elevations now wrong that were, made any time before they used this gravitational chart of where the gravity's stronger or weaker on the pear-shaped spheroid that is our Earth, So I'm hoping, this is my first attempt at a video. I don't know if you're seeing this, then obviously I was able to figure it out. I've got my friend's 10-year-old grandson has a YouTube channel, so I'm going to ask him how to do it. And, if this video works, then I can share it with like Jake or Rich or, some of the Flat Earth channels. I'd love to see somebody just break down that video on this Minute Physics channel. And if I can figure out how to do it, I'll put a link to that video on this video here. But like I say, I'm very low tech, and I've never had a computer or anything. I just woke up to the truth a little over a year ago, November of 15. I started waking up. Eventually, I woke up to all the truths and the ultimate truth, which is Jesus. But that's another subject, and I plan on, if I get the hang of this, I plan on putting some more videos out. My Christian testimony is quite amazing, very supernatural, but anyway, this is my first video. It's a flat Earth video, and I hope this gets some attention and people can start thinking about elevation and sea level. And it seems like it would be just a really obvious, just one more of the many obvious proofs of the flat plane that we live on. I mean, you always see about the oceans being flat, and that's an obvious proof. And it's talked about. Zora, don't eat that. Whatever it is. That's been gone over a million times, but I see hardly anything about how they come about with sea levels or with elevations of different places inland. And what started me thinking about this is I've got a real good eye. One of the first things I woke up to was the Masonic symbolism. So I got a new job that takes me through a ski town every day. And this town is so chock full of Masonic symbols, every sign, every business. they've got a huge Masonic temple at the bottom of the ski mountain. And so I started looking into this town a little bit, and the ski mountain itself has an elevation of 3,344 feet. So that's a nice Masonic number, got my wheels turning. And with a vertical drop of 2,200 feet. So we got 33, 44, and 22 on this mountain for its elevation and stuff. But that's just a little side note. So anyway, I'm going to try to download this and figure it out. These are my chickens. We got my doggy over here, Zora. Say hi to the folks, Zora. And alright, hope you guys have a great day. And if you view this and want to share it with you know, some of the other channels, like I said, I'd like to see somebody break that video down. It's pretty hilarious. The other thing too, you know, there's, I forget, a couple thousand comments, and almost as hilarious as the video itself is some of the comments from the sheeple. You know, wow, I never realized it was so complicated, etc. And boy, I'm glad there's smart people to figure this stuff out, because I just thought it was sea level. So anyway, all right, I love you guys. Bye.